Well, greetings on a Saturday on Easter weekend. I am between yard chores right now and got the hat on. It's a little bit of a grubby day from my perspective, so not too interested in getting dressed up necessarily for what we do here, so you get what you get. Um, I had a couple of thoughts on the tail of a very good chat that we had in Linda Ratchke's room the other day. After it was over, actually, I thought I should have expanded on a couple of topics more than I did, and I'm going to kind of use this um, weekend trader video as kind of a way to do that, and a way to bridge also for the folks that follow the blog that of course weren't able to sit in on that. But I've got three topics in mind, and one of the issues related to stops. And my response in the chat was that I rarely use stops, and that I manage my risk primarily with size, and that when I start entering at wholesale, what I feel is a wholesale area, which means there's already been some extension toward a retail price up or down, that it's very unusual for the market to continue to blow away. Um, once it's already gotten to that point, so stops for that reason are pretty rare, and that again, managing with size, it doesn't mean I'm not going to take it off if it doesn't do what I expect it to do, but that's primarily how I manage risk, and I've stated that throughout the blog. But I wanted to, before I answered the other night, I said I wanted to be careful in terms of how people might react to my not using stops. And where I really wanted to expand on that is that um, I use what I call scratches. Okay. And I will scratch if I don't see the market moving quite, as quickly as I would like, or I've got some uncertainty at that given point in time. I will scratch the trade with a plan to re-enter if I look around and see, I've double checked some things and it still looks okay, then I might get back in. And that might be at a higher price than what I got in at. It might be at a lower price than I got in at. So I want to make that point clear for everybody, basically, in terms of that. That's why my volume is as high as it is in a lot of cases. It's not based on always providing this liquidity back and forth, and that's not. I mean, that's certainly one reason why it goes up. But I prefer to manage my risk with size and with scratches and reentries. And if I have a fault in my trading, and I have many faults, then I may do that a little bit too frequently. I consider it an insurance policy of sorts. And that's actually one area that I'm working on in terms of not doing that as often as I may need to, because normally my reads are pretty right on. But again, to me, it's a cost of insurance, and it's the cost of risk management. So some people manage risk in other ways. That's one way how I do it. So I wanted to clarify that point. We had another good dialogue on the topic of my trading setup, and someone mentioned that he or she used T1s, and if I've ever considered it because the price has come down. And my response was that I've got my cable modem for my main setup, and then my, of course, infamous by now Sony Vaio with Sprint PCS. I had to start getting something from Sprint for keep mentioning this, but with Sprint PCS broadband. And again, I guess I really want to reiterate the point that I primarily trade one market, and I could do fairly well with my 11-inch screen with charts on maybe two time frames and one very small order entry window. Um, that's all I need, and frankly, if you're specializing in one area, that's all I think you need. I certainly have multiple monitors as I look around my room here, but there's one that has my charts and my order entry window, and that's it. The other windows I have are pretty much for email and browsing and Excel and anything else I might be working on. So Um, I really wanted to emphasize that point because I just see so many traders out there thinking that you got to have all these whiz-bang systems and high capacity CPUs and 5, 6, 8, 10 monitors, LCD displays, and T1s. And I know I mentioned in a blog post, I don't know when it was, but probably a month or two ago, um, that it's not the tools. It really isn't. And I mean it with all seriousness. I do a lot of trading on my laptop when I'm away from my station, and it does not impede me at all. So again, I guess I want to reiterate that point. I think I mentioned it in that blog post some time ago. If your trading's not going well, it's likely not because you don't have enough toys. And I love toys. Don't get me wrong. I mentioned to Linda in the chat that I think the video monitors vendors at the New York Expo hated me. I was kind of standing around there shaking my head a little bit. I was having some fun with them. Another concept that I thought I might talk about that really wasn't part of the chat, but it really came to mind this week is this whole topic or this whole concept that some people have of having a daily goal or a weekly goal or a monthly goal. Um, I think the longer you go out in time frame, it's great. I mean, I have an annual goal, $1 million. That's been well publicized. I kind of have monthly number in mind, which is 100,000. But I certainly realize that there will be some months under, some months above, as has happened so far in '09. But the moment you start decreasing that time frame into something like weekly or daily or heaven forbid on a trade basis, then I mean that's a killer. And I'll look at this week as an example. If I had a weekly goal, and it was clear by Thursday that I was behind what I would normally do in a given week, then I probably would have pressed like hell on Thursday and Friday and get myself in more trouble. Similarly, on Friday, if I had a goal of a certain profit amount, or whether I had um, the goal of just being flat, no worse than flat, then I also likely would have pressed like heck on Friday inappropriately and get myself in a lot of trouble. I shaved what started off as a 5-digit loss down to a very manageable 6,000, which for me is nothing. It's light yellow, just like +6 would be light green. Doesn't really mean much to me. And I actually felt I did fairly well this week. It's not the score. The score, yes, is important, monthly, quarterly, especially annually, and that's the only number I care about. But again, if anyone's watching this and you think that it's important to have a daily goal or a weekly goal, please, there will be weeks where you are out of sync. There will be days when you are out of sync. There will be days when the market is out of sync, and there will be days when both are out of sync. And if you really press during those times, trying to meet some number, then God help you, because I guarantee you, you're gonna have a real negative number. Last thought as I see the 10-minute ticker down countdown here, and by the way, for those new to the video, that's all I get is YouTube gives you 10 minutes. Is just this whole topic of setups. I shared a couple of setups this week, which I normally don't. One was stopped, and one was a success. It was basically the exact same setup, and I wanted to show that again, it's not about which one you take; it's about you take them all. But I know there was at least one comment that talked about his or her system saying, on that first sequence, I think it might have been Wednesday, that he had some system that said short, and that's all well and good. Again, I put so little credence in a single result. I don't care what system anyone is trading. I have a system, I guess, which is me, which is discretion, which is certainly using technical analysis, but using judgment. I don't believe in systems, in computer systems. I don't think they can react as quickly. I don't think they can be as flexible. Sure, they don't have the human element, but and that's a positive for it. And again, there's no right or wrong. But again, my ongoing analogy to being an airline pilot, I want to be in control, or have that pilot in control and using some judgment along with the controls versus something on autopilot that can't react to stormy conditions. So again, I'm not interested really, frankly, in what a system says. Everything's about probability, and everything, if it's managed right, will do the same thing over time. So again, just macro is important, micro is very, very important and irrelevant. That's about all I have today. Go back out to the yard. Hope it was helpful. Have a great Easter. Reminder, if you trade Europe, Europe is closed on Monday. It's always closed on the Monday after Easter. And we'll see if we get some better rhythms in this week. Have a great weekend. We'll catch you later.